Hey, welcome into Behind the Punch podcast. I'm Caden,
I'm Jake.
and we're here with
Isaiah Rodriguez.
Nice, dude.
Isaiah. Thank you for joining us. It's so awesome to have you on the podcast. We're just going to kind of start out. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, who are you right now in the boxing world?
I'm a professional fighter. I got 4 wins and 3 losses, trying to get my 8th professional fight. Just been working hard. It's been a long time coming. A lot of ups and downs through the ring and life, you know. So here I am now trying to make a difference with the little time I got left.
Right on.
Little time I have left is
Oh, yeah.
fantastic.
Clock is
Little
ticking.
add-on, bro.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Okay. Eight professional fights?
This will be my
This
8th
will be your
professional
8th.
fight.
Okay.
Yeah.
Love it.
Oh, this is exciting. How long have you been a pro fighter?
I've been pro for, I'd say, about 3 years. I think I went pro in 2023.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, I think it's 3 years, like a couple days here. So, it's
Oh,
not
wow.
too bad, yeah.
Dang, that's
Pro
exciting.
debut was on Cinco de Mayo,
Yeah.
2023.
How was
Wow.
that process going from amateur to professional?
It wasn't too much of a crazy process for me, other than like the work that you got to put into it. The biggest thing for me was just just more work I need to put in to go longer rounds or last longer rounds, you know. And because I didn't really have much of a big amateur pedigree, only had like 9 amateur fights.
Yeah.
So I actually didn't really notice too much of a transition, just because I didn't really have that much to like change from. I didn't have a lot like, oh, I've been so much this way, now I gotta see what it's like to change that. The biggest difference for me was like, oh dang, the gloves are a lot smaller and there's no headgear, you know. But it wasn't too big of a drastic change for me, just because of that. Like, I just thought like, oh well, I had such a small time in amateurs anyways. It just felt like, oh, here we are to the next one.
Yeah. So you said you've only had 9 amateur fights. How long have you been boxing?
Yeah, so like I started when I was 15. I had my first fight when I was 16.
15.
Yeah,
That seems kind of late to the game, is it not?
yeah, pretty late. Yeah, like
Interesting.
I was in there getting beat up by 12-year-olds when I was 15, you know, so I had to learn the hard way. Really had to
Was there something in your life that made you go at that age?
well, I mean, I was always fighting, you know. I was
Okay.
always getting in trouble. And I was a troublemaker, or
Uh-huh.
I was always finding myself in places where trouble followed me around.
Yeah.
So then I ended up like getting kicked out of school, getting suspended, hanging around with the wrong crowd. And then just one day my mom was just like, hey, like, you're going to juvie, keep getting kicked out, schools. She's like, you're smart, you know, but like you're not like using any of it. So pretty much like, you know, my family has like boxed. So she was just pretty much telling me like, why don't you like do something that other people like signed up to do? You won't get in trouble. It's a sport. It's good for you. You know, maybe that's something you'd want to give a try. You know, 'cause she's like, one day you're going to end up in jail. You're going to end up dead. You know, you're going to cross the wrong person, you know, or you're just going to end up being just a nobody because you didn't take advantage of, you know, your talents. And so I never thought nothing of it. Like, I was always bullied. I was always picked on. Never thought like I would end up like be fighting like professionally. You know, I just always fought to like survive. Like, boxing wasn't even like a dream for me when I started. Like, my first dream was, oh, I would like to be a football player. You know, I love football. Football was like everything. And then one day when I was like 14 years old, I got snapped in half.
Yeah.
And it showed me that, yeah, you know, I guess that dream wasn't going to work out for us. So let's find a new dream. And then all this stuff started happening. My mom gave me that little bit of advice. I went and tried it out. And ever since then, I just couldn't stop.
Wow. You come across any more of those bullies?
No, not really. Not really.
Man,
You know, I mean,
that's like a dream of mine, dude.
no, I think it
That'd
like
be a
it humbled me
dream,
too.
bro.
Is like growing up, like, cause that was like a big thing for me. Like when I first started boxing, like now I wanted people to mess with me, because now I like, not only was I this little skinny guy who people thought that couldn't really defend himself. Once I was able to defend myself, now I kind of wanted my ego to get tested. Like, oh, well, now try me. But then as time went on and all those people kind of like didn't really amount to nothing, you know, or that's all they had that made them feel strong. Like, I saw as I got older, the other side, you know, like maybe they grew up a little troubled. Maybe they were like always put down by even their own family. So that's why they had to take it out on somebody weaker than them. And it just made me feel like, oh, well, you know, what kind of person would I be if I just did that now?
Wow.
Because now I got the power in my hands and I'm going to choose to use it to just put people down. You know, and it's like, I was like, I don't want to become a bully. That was the whole reason why I started defending myself, started to learn to fight, It was because I wanted to get away from that.
Right.
You know, and so that's kind of why I never really went to go try to challenge them again.
That's beautiful, man. I like that, sticking up for yourself and then turning a different leaf, man. You could use your superpowers for evil.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You could go the other way with it. That's fantastic. All right.
I got one. So you said you got snapped in half playing football. Did you start boxing before this injury or after this injury?
Well, I had started boxing after. Like I had done like little things, messed around, went to a couple gyms. You know, I did like wrestling and stuff. So I've always like had like some type of combat sport. I mean, or physical contact sport. You know, so like I was always knew what it was like to like push yourself to be good at something. But yeah, boxing didn't start till after I broke my leg, and that was like kind of also like physical therapy for it too, because I noticed that like I never really hadn't trained since I had broke my leg. And so whenever I was getting older, like I had took some time off, because like I had to grow up, had to get a job, had a baby, so I was like, all right. And I guess, this little thing that I was using, a little hobby at the time, I'm like, I didn't really have nothing going for me, especially because I still wasn't like 100% into it. So I had a lot of things pulling me in different directions. And that's kind of where like I kind of got away from it and realized like, oh, dang, I didn't notice how much like physical therapy that was doing for me. Cause then that's when I would feel like the little side effects of like the metal in my leg or like I guess just the injury side effects, it's like, oh, dang, now I can't move as fast, I'm not as limber anymore. And then when I started back again, I noticed like, dang, I actually feel a lot better when I'm just staying physically active and just moving around. Like you really do feel as young as you let yourself feel. Right. And if I'm out here working every day, it's just like these young kids that are starting like 15, 16 now, then I should feel just as good as them.
There you go. What was the recovery process like?
So like it was a whole year. So pretty much like they had cut me open, they had fixed my bone, they wrapped it up with some metal or some titanium, and then they had split open my knee, and then they put inside of my bone 2 metal rods. And then they just stapled up everything. And as those metal rods were in there, it was healing everything. And as the bone marrow was slowly coming back, like it would slowly push out those rods. But at the same time, like I wasn't able to have like a cast or nothing, because it was like, since they had cut my knee, it could limit my mobility. Right. And so pretty much like I had a choice, like, do you want to be crippled or do you want to be able to get back as close as you can to being just normal? Like not even anything crazy, not nothing extra. And so that was like a big thing for me, was learning how to pretty much just do nothing. You have to be able to like, I was a super active kid. I like going out all the time, going to the park, playing with friends. Yeah. And whenever you're like, you literally can't do nothing, you have to ask for help. My mom had to carry me, take me to the restroom, take me baths, and then like, it just felt like, dang, very like emasculating, like I was like, dang, like this is where I'm supposed to be growing up to be a man. And now I just feel like I'm starting all back over, and so having to learn how to walk, having to learn how to, do the day-to-day stuff, and so the process took about a year when the bone actually healed. And then after a year, they needed to recut me open and take out all those metal rods. And so then it was another year process until I was like fully healed. But I started pretty much like, so I was like 14 and when it happened, and then like 6 months later I turned 15. So like at 6 months, when I was already like slowly limping around and stuff, I started boxing. Wow. So like while I was recovering, I was boxing. Okay. And so then once they took those rods out after that year, I had already technically had like 5 or 6 months of like little training of boxing there, and so once they took out that, gave me a couple months to kind of heal up. And then that whole second year, that's when I was even doing more to try to get better. So that's why I didn't have like a fight. My very first fight wasn't until I was 16, but it's because I was just going through this whole process of like recovery. Right. And then once I got recovered, then I just slowly started like, oh, well, this is something I'm already used to doing. It was the one time when I realized like, dang, I'd rather go to boxing than like hang out with these friends that I have. It was whenever I like kind of saw like this outlet that I have is like doing good for me. And so that's pretty much whenever everything kind of all started coming together with boxing.
Wow.
Yeah. pretty cool. But yeah, long story short, yeah, I started boxing after my injury.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like it.
Man, that's really interesting. I kind of have some other stuff about just like into the fighter mentality of it all. I guess I would say is trying to balance like injury, but with wanting to continue going, and then also like with the whole bully thing. I just want to harp on that for a little bit longer, maybe too long, I guess, on the bully thing. But it seems like if you can learn to box and you can learn to protect yourself and do these things, then you would want to, I don't know, maybe stand up for other people or do something like that. But I guess when you're in the ring, does it kind of have a different feeling to it? I mean, I guess when you're in the ring, it's more competitive. It's more gladiator. I'm assuming because I have no idea. But when you're out in the street, is it more of a feeling of like a protector?
Yeah, I would say
you
like
have
in
a
the
skill.
streets, it's more like a moral thing.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yep.
like do you feel morally obligated to like
Yeah.
you would want to protect somebody?
Yeah.
Like for example, if like you were walking down the street in an
Uh-huh.
alley and you saw some girl getting
Yeah,
taken
yeah.
down by somebody, would you not want to do something?
Right.
You know, but even on the small level, like being more mature as I've gotten older and being a father, it's like when I see little kids talk back to their parents, it's like, hey, like you don't know how much that woman or that
Yeah.
father is like making all these sacrifices to make you
Yeah.
happy. Like they deserve a little bit of respect,
Mhm.
you know. And so like things like that could definitely affect it. Because when
Yeah.
I was younger, yeah, I was like I would fight other people's battles, you know. But as I got older, I realized like, well, how are those people ever gonna learn how to do it for themselves?
There we go.
You know,
That's what I'm trying to get at.
that
right
was
there.
the biggest thing for me.
That's what I'm
was
trying to
like
get at.
I also can't like cater to everybody's problems.
Mhm.
When in the end of the day, when you're all alone, you're gonna have to figure out how to get through those problems yourself.
Mhm. It seems like there's some kind of underlying tones here from boxing. Maybe that it's we've heard that maybe some people come from a harsh place and they want to rescue or they want something out of it, or there's an underlying tone of protection, or there's things like that. Do you feel like there was maybe an underlying tone for you that you were just wanting to get out of a place, you needed an escape, or you said you bully, so you want to learn to protect yourself, but was there anything else that was, maybe?
Yeah, it was it was pretty much all of that, and a little bit of the fact that like I never had a father around. I never had like I was the older brother.
Yeah.
So it's like not only did I have to like figure out everything by myself, but I had to have these lessons passed down to the
There you
people that
go.
were growing up right after me.
Mm-hmm.
And what other way to lead than leading by example?
Oh, I love it. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Okay, so then you started this journey, you healed up, you're going now amateur fights, right? This is the process of time. You do, how many was the amateur fights?
Yeah, so I had 9 amateur fights.
9 amateur fights, and then now you're starting to go pro. This will be your 8th pro fight. What's the process of going from amateur to pro? What's that like for people that don't know?
So the process is really just signing a piece of paper. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay. Oh,
No, it's actually a lot more
I wanna
simple
go
than
pro.
they do it. And it,
Yeah, I wanna go
it
pro.
takes a lot away from like the actual people who are doing it for the real professional name behind it.
Okay.
You know, because there's a lot of people that are out there doing it just for a paycheck or just because of what that title can carry.
Mm-hmm.
You know, instead of doing it for the actual love of the game.
Yeah.
You know, and that there's levels to it, and that you start from the bottom and you work your way up. You know, and
Yeah.
me, I was just kind of late to the game, you know, so that's kind of why the process from amateur to pro happened so quickly was because I just didn't take advantage of my youth and really have all those amateur fights that I could have had, you know, and during that whole time it was me figuring out myself and trying to just grow up and be mature and find out what I even really wanted to do in my life.
Yeah.
Because I had one or two fights. I had one fight when I was 16. I had one fight when I was 17 and 2 fights when I was 18. And then that's when I had my daughter. And then I also didn't do nothing for like 5 years,
Yeah.
you know? And like there was just always this itch, you know, like, hey, like we had this chance, like I can't stop going a day without thinking about like, I still want to like fight, you know, like, and it didn't matter where it was, you know, like somebody looked at me wrong. I was like, oh, I'm getting all these urges. My ego, like needs to get fed. I'm getting hungry again. Like there's something that I need to do to feed this ego. And also like maybe learn from something. Maybe this is what I'm supposed to do. Maybe it's not, but I wasn't going to sit there and waste that chance that I could have had, you know, and think about it back in the day, 10 years later, like, dang, maybe I could have done something.
Right.
And so for me, it was like, you know what? I kept thinking about it, and I was still kind of dealing with my stuff. So I was like, you know what? we just got to throw ourselves in the deep end. You know, I was all like, all right, you know, I'm going to sign myself up. So there's no reason for anybody to turn me away. And I was like, and I'm just going to cut everything off and just go hit the gym.
Yeah.
And so once I started getting used to like adult life, getting used to my schedule of work, staying consistent with that, you know, I knew maybe now I have a little bit of the discipline that I'm looking for to be able to push myself and make an opportunity happen with boxing. So then I went to a couple different places, got shut down, you know, almost thinking like, damn, you know, like if only like I had a little bit more to show for it. But like the biggest thing was it's like, well, I am what I made of myself. So I'm like, oh, like I really at the moment I really am just this guy just talking. You know, so when I told him I would go to a couple gyms, I'd be like, hey, like just give me 1 year, you know, like I want to come train, give me 2 months, I'll be ready for a fight. I already registered myself, I'm ready to go. You know, give me 2 months and I'll fight. And after 1 year, we'll see what happens in 1 year of amateur. We can keep going if you want to get the experience. But after 1 year, I'll go pro. Like let's just make it happen. You know, I was dedicated. I set the vision and I wanted to make it happen. And everyone was shutting me down. And then I finally came down here to All Heart, you know, and I talked to Jason. And Jason was just like, all right, well, let's see what you got, you know? And I was like, yeah, I'm registered in this. He told me get in there and start sparring. He was like, all right. And then I just was like, all right. He gave me a chance, so I'm not going to let that chance slip. So every day I showed up and busted my ass, you know, because that's what it takes. It takes the days that you don't want to be here. It takes the time away, the sacrifices of like, oh, maybe I want to hang out. Maybe I wanted to watch a movie. Maybe I wanted to watch a show. It's like, but it's those little moments of time that can change and make the difference of you being a winner or you being a loser, you know? And so that was really where it all started was I was like, oh, like he gave me this chance and like, I'm running out of time, you know, like I'm not going to stay this age forever. So I need to just start jumping on it. So yeah, 2 months later, had an amateur fight, you know, ended up winning that fight. Then we had a few more amateur fights after that. I ended up winning 4 amateur fights in a row. And then I went for the Golden Gloves and then just came up short on that one. Fought a pretty good guy. You know, he was number 1 in the nation at the time. And, you know, nothing to hang my head at. You know, I went out there, I tested myself, and you know, I came up short, but I gave it my best shot. And then after that, that was like what could have maybe set up a little bit more amateur. It's like, all right, okay, maybe now we'll take this to regionals. Now maybe we'll take this to nationals, depending on how it goes. But it didn't work out for me. So then now it was time to stick to the original plan. All right, it's been a year. Let's go pro. So then right after that, I believe it was like maybe a month and a half later, had my first professional fight. And then I went out there and I won in the first round. So it was like, all right, here we go. Now it's time to get to the next level. Like here we are just busting.
That's
working.
Incredible. How common is it to see an amateur fighter with only 9 fights and then go pro? Because I hear about fighters have like 50 plus amateur fights.
Yeah, for me, I like just being on that end, like it don't really seem very common, you know, like it kind of even seems like frowned upon sometimes, you know, it's like who are you to just kind of like take the shortcut, you know, and I'm just like, you know, like it's just the way my life went. But that's also why, like, I'm not going to take anything away from anybody else's work. And that's why I know, like, it's been a long time coming. Like, maybe my on paper, it don't show it. But, like, I've always been doing this, you know, and whenever I did it, I always did do it to my fullest. You know, maybe I wasn't the most consistent with, like, my timeline and taking all this time off. But when it came back to it, like, I'm here all the time and I work hard. And in the end of the day, I might not have the best talent in the world, but I have great work ethic, and my work will take me far.
Tell us a little bit more about the work that you're putting into it. You push yourself so much to go pro, and I don't know, it feels like such like a short timeline. Like coming back, you're like, I'm going pro. Like, tell us about the work that you had to put in to make that happen.
Yeah, well, pretty much it was. I don't know the word.
Is it more days in the gym? Is it more time sparring? What does that look like?
It's just trying to find out the balance of like life, you know?
Okay.
Because it's like you're short on a schedule, you know? You have a schedule. Like me, I have to still work a regular 10-hour a day job, you know? And it's like, and I got a whole family to provide for, you know? And then I also have a woman that I need to keep happy, you know? And it's like, so it's just being able to have this completely unbalanced life, but you're able to balance it out for yourself. Because then there's days where I'm doing like 50, 60 hours a week at my regular job. And then I'm still doing like 15, 20 hours here in the gym. You know, and it's like, it's body breaking, you know, it's nerve wracking. You know, sometimes I'm just like defeated mentally. Sometimes I show up here and I'm just like going through the motions because like that's all I got left. You know, it's like I'd rather just give myself a 1% chance because a 1% chance is better than me going on in life saying that like what could have been.
Right.
You know, like at least I went out there and gave it a shot. You know, I'm not trying to look to be the baddest man on the planet, but I'm trying to look to be the best version of myself.
Love that.
Is it okay?
Go for it.
I want to talk a little bit about them. There seems like a lot of mental aspects to what you're talking about. You mentioned ego was a huge thing. Then we're talking about showing up on long days of work, and you're showing up and you're sparring and you're hitting, and then you have these urges, these feelings that you want to fight, so you come back to it. Seems like it's a lot of a mental thing going on here. Can you talk to? First want to know, how important is ego for a fighter? Do you need to? There needs to be a line. I think I'm assuming, but you tell me that you're balancing between like confidence and cocky. Like it's a tightrope walk. You want to believe in yourself that you can go in here and you're going to perform, but then you don't want to be too overly that you know something goes south. How important is ego? How do you balance it?
Well, I mean, I remember I heard Gervonta Davis say it one time. You know, he's like, I'm gonna retire because like I want to just like be a good father. I want to be like good to my kids.
Yeah.
And like sometimes that takes away from like wanting to like hurt people. Now I want to like be a good guy, you know? And it's like that's kind of a big deal. Like you need to be willing to go out there and like you kind of have to like turn your feelings off.
Yeah.
You have to be able to be like, you know, like if it's him or me in that ring, if this is a time where it's like I got to be the better man and probably kill you, you know? It's like that's kind of the mentality you need to bring, you know what I mean? And it's like, no, like for reals though, because like that's something that I struggle with in time because when I like, the difference between like cockiness and confidence is that like there was a time when I was beating everybody and then I got humbled, whether it be by life or by somebody putting me on my fucking ass, you know what I mean? So it's like whenever they did that for me, then it was like, oh, okay. You know, like I got to be humble because like you're not the best. You can always be better. There's always room for improvement, but you do got to believe in yourself because if you just take that one loss that you have and let it hang over you for the rest of your life, that's all you're going to ever think about. You know, you're going to be traumatized. And you want to be able to accept reality, you know, for what it is, but also know that like that reality doesn't need to stay that way and that you can change it, you know, because like there was a time where like I never even thought I was going to box again. You know, and here I am. So it's like anything can happen.
Sorry, where are you going? What do you he has an amazing question here about expectations and the pressure of those. Maybe something that you're putting on yourself. I mean, going pro and you're going to keep going and you're doing this for your family. You have a family now. How are you balancing the mental pressure of expectations that you feel like maybe you're putting on yourself or your family and friends have of you? What's that like?
Yeah, so it's a little nerve-wracking. I feel like that pressure gets to you a little bit.
Yeah,
you know,
I would think so. I think it would get to me too, bro.
I think you get used to the experience overall. Like, well, this is just what I do, and you got to just like find that because sometimes like you overthinking things can actually make you perform less. You know, and letting that pressure get to you. One of the biggest things for me was like I've always been the person that everyone expects to lose. So like having those low expectations like made me have higher expectations myself. Like I'm gonna prove you wrong,
right?
But then also on the other end, being the person that everyone wants to win, like I'm not used to how to handle that because I was always the guy everyone counted out. So now it's like, oh dang, like I don't know what it's like when people tell me, hey, good job. Like I'm used to people telling me you're not doing good enough. You know, so like even that aspect of things, it's like it definitely changes the expectations and stuff because like with my family. With my lady and my kids, like they've seen me fight all the time. So like to me, they're like, oh, like that's just what he loves to do. Like they're not gonna go anywhere because I win or lose a fight. So when it comes to them, it's like it's more of the pressure I put on myself that like I don't want to lose in front of them.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
And then the pressure of like the fans, like I don't really know. Like I never had fans, so like that kind of like it don't affect me as much as like the people close to me. You know. So whenever like my coaches and my trainers, like they're putting all this time and investing into me. Like I would hate to go out there and lose, you know, but you know, anything can happen. One punch can change a whole fight.
Yeah.
You know, an injury could change a whole fight. You not speaking up because you're going through some mental battles, and then you go in there and lose a fight. You know, just sometimes it's just not your day. But the thing is that just knowing that no matter what, I do everything that I'm supposed to do leading up to the fight. Like, at the end of the day, I can't hang my head about nothing because I did everything I was supposed to do, and it just wasn't my night.
There's definitely a lot to think about leading up to a fight and just like training for it. When you are training, does your mind kind of just go silent and you're just focused on training, or are you constantly thinking of all these different things?
No, it's more of like thinking of ways that what I need to work on, what I need to improve on, and like a little bit of because I'm getting kind of now in a spot where everyone's telling me I'm doing good. Like now I need the balance of you're not working hard enough. Oh, you're getting a little tired. Push yourself harder. Oh, it's like, oh, you're not at the gym long enough. Oh, that run, you're trying to cut it 1 minute short, even though I'm not. now we're going to run 1 minute longer. You know, doing a rep of sit-ups, you know, it's like, we just got to do one more sit-up. And then I do 2 more. And then I do 3 more. And it's just pushing myself to build myself. But it's because at the end of the day, it's like, I know what I'm capable of, you know, and I just want to be able to prove myself wrong now. Now it's not about proving anybody else wrong except myself.
There you go.
Wow. This is like these are like heavier topics right now. And I kind of like this, dude. I like this. Like the balancing of identity and the mental aspect of it all, and then training really hard. I mean, I guess I'm really curious about, you know, you put all this time in, right? But is there ever like a moment you're walking up to the ring or you're getting your hands wrapped before a fight where you think, I should have ran one more time? Or have you already silenced that voice? Like, how, are you keeping your mental in a cage, or what is that like? I have no idea, and I want to know.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that you don't want to feel that way.
Right.
You don't want to feel that way at all.
You just work it out during camp and stuff?
I just want to make sure I never left any room for doubt in my mind.
There you go.
Through pushing through the camp.
There you go.
You know, because if there's even 1% of doubt, like that thing will eat you alive from the inside out. You know, and because there has been times where I was super nervous about just the opponent. Like when I fought in the Golden Gloves, I was like, wow, like this is like the #1 guy. Like this is what you need to go through all these stages to fight like the boss battle, right? And like I'm starting off fighting this guy. Yeah. You know, so to me it was like, dang, like, okay, we need to bust our ass and we need to work hard. Right. But then when the moment came, I'm like, I can't believe I'm like fighting this guy. Right. You know, and like I was so worried about what that guy was capable of that I completely forgot about what I was capable of. And then I underperformed. Right. You know? And so like I've had those moments that made me realize that just don't leave no room for that, because you don't want to be thinking that up to fight night. You get a scheduled time to get ready for stuff. And if you ain't taking advantage of your time, then that's probably exactly how you should feel, because you had all this time to get ready for that fight. You had all this time to be putting hours in the gym, you know, even 20 minutes a day. Oh, I need to, instead of putting my alarm clock on snooze, or I didn't want to eat a healthy meal, you know, and I missed weight or something. You know, if you're not staying disciplined in every aspect of the game, you're gonna have those doubts, you know. And it's just about just leaving no room for that, because you want to feel like you are the baddest man walking into that ring, and that when you get your hand raised in the end, you know it's because it was way before you even stepped in there.
Wow, that's, oh man, I'm like getting amped up, dude. I feel like I need to go do some push-ups or something, dude.
That's a little gym around here.
I know, that's fantastic to think about. So you silence that voice by just putting in the work beforehand. So then while you're getting your hands wrapped, while you're warming up, while you're walking to the ring and fans are yelling and cheering and stuff, you're calm, because you know I'm already ready for this.
Oh yeah.
Right? Wow. Okay, so you're in the ring. When you're in the ring, are you even thinking about anything, or is it just, it's muscle memory and you're just moving?
A little bit of both.
You're thinking to yourself.
Like I'm thinking like, okay, like he didn't react to that. Okay, let's set something up.
Right.
But then there's some moments in the heat of the battle where it's like, I was looking at a couple of my last fights, like I was like, oh, I didn't even realize that my body did that. Like I would move in a spot, hit an angle, and I'm like, I don't remember doing that angle. Like that was just the training speaking for itself, you know? Yeah. And so like, sometimes like my very first fight, I remember I put the guy down and they were just telling me like, calm down. I didn't hear nothing. I didn't hear nobody in the crowd. I could barely even hear the ref. You know, like when I get in there, like all I see is the person in front of me. Like sometimes like everything else, like sometimes I don't even remember what I do. Like in the moment I know what I'm doing, but then whenever the fight's kind of over, I'm like, I don't even really remember what punches I threw. You know, like I don't know what punch did I put him down with again?
Yeah.
Or one time when I got knocked down, I was like, what punch did that guy put me down? Like, I don't even know. You know, so it's like sometimes it's just I kind of like I know it's like controlled chaos. You know, because it's like I black out and go into this like rage, but it's like super controlled because like when I look back at it, I'm like, oh, you could see I knew what I was doing.
Yeah.
But sometimes in my head, it don't feel that way.
Can you sorry to interrupt. Can you tell if a fighter is too much in their head? Like if you're hitting a guy and you're noticing, oh, he's not believing in himself. Can you see it? Is that a thing?
Yeah, it definitely shows in the body language.
What's the body language?
A couple of things is for, you know, like everybody handles it differently. You know? But the times that I've experienced it was when people like, oh, a guy comes out, he's talking real loud, and then all of a sudden it comes a fight, and now he's getting real quiet. You know, he's now he's kind of like, in a sense, hiding in the corner. He's like nervous to see. Like I seen one opponent one time, like he was like super confident, like, okay, yeah, like this guy's a beginner and he don't know what he's doing. So he was a little confident in himself. And then he started seeing me do the mitts. And then all of a sudden I saw that guy go straight to the corner and start praying. You know, I'm like, you know, I mean, like, I was like, hey man, I don't know if that's a sign of like him not believing in himself, but he needs every divine power, you know, to help balance out the scales. But you can definitely notice it. You know, I've noticed it in fighters that like I've been in there with like just cornering them or helping them out or training with them or just even sparring. Like sometimes like they're so worried about like they're not working hard enough that they're scared to even throw a punch, and then they turn into a punching bag.
Wow. Turning into a punching bag sounds terrible, dude. That sounds horrific.
You kind of know something a little about that.
A little bit about that, but dude, that's really scary. What about like when you're? I've always wondered this when I'm watching boxing fights, and it's your time and you're in your corner, and they're like, you know, they take your mouth guard out and they're doing all this stuff, and they're talking to them. Are you really like understanding what they're saying? Or are you just trying to breathe? You know what I'm saying? Like, what does that feel like, man?
A little bit of the adrenaline can get the best of you, you know, but that's why what we try to practice too is like when we're telling each other in the corner, like we keep it real minimal, you know, so we're not going to tell you like this whole like world story or something. And then it's like, oh, the only thing I remembered was what the first word you said, you know? So it's like, we try to keep it like, okay, hey, this is what you're doing, or you need to keep your hands up. You know, maybe work the body. Just simple adjustments, you know? And just so it's like, it's stuff that can really stick with you. You know, it's like, okay, like this is what you're doing good. This is what you need to do to change it. Or like, this is what he's catching you with. So this is how you need to defend. So real simple, want to keep it nice and short because in the moment, like you are trying to regain your breath, all the adrenaline's high, you know, you're not going to remember everything. So you want to keep it as short as possible. And at least like, you're like for sure know what you want them to do. You know, keep it short and simple, for sure.
Oh man, okay, that's really interesting. Have you ever had a time when you're in the corner and you're like, man, I don't know if I want to keep doing this? Has that ever come across?
No, but I'm different than a lot of people. Yeah, you know, because like because that's when like my ego gets awakened in me a lot, where it's like no, like I think of it like gladiator times. You know, like if I'm meant to die right here, this is where I'm gonna die right now, and I'd rather go out on my shield than take a knee or like even if they like if my coaches or something threw in the towel, I'd feel like damn, was I really looking that bad, you know? And like because like I wouldn't even want them to do that, you know, and like even if like I get hurt with something, like I'm not gonna say nothing because like if I'm gonna go out with a bang regardless if I'm the one getting put down or I'm the one putting someone down.
Wow, dude. Dude, I love this, dude. I love this so much. All right, should I talk to me?
Go for another one. Go for another one.
Truly blessed. Where does that come from? You got the tattoo of it. Where's the origination of that?
Yeah, so it came from just me always like, cause I grew up kind of somewhat religious. You know, as I've gotten older, I'm not religious. I'm spiritual. I believe in God, and I know that He's with me every day throughout my life. Okay. But when I was younger, I believed that I was cursed. I believed that I was destined to fail, and that no matter where I went, like I was always going to be the guy that they put to the side. Going to be a guy never given an opportunity. Going to be the guy that they just rather have lose than even give a chance to win. Right. And so as I got older and I started getting these opportunities and realizing a lot of the stuff that was happening was because I was never striving to be better. I was accepting that reality of being a loser, but didn't know that a lot of the control was in my own hands. Yeah. And as time went on, I realized I was never cursed. Yeah. I'm truly blessed to even be in this position that I'm in right now.
Come on. Come on. That's awesome. The total like identity shift, huh?
Pretty much.
What age was that?
I would say it was probably when I had my daughter. That was the
Wow.
biggest change for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Real quick disclaimer before the rest of the episode continues. You may notice that the audio has changed a little bit. Our recording kind of messed up with the actual mic, so we switched to camera audio. So it will sound a little bit off, but you should still be able to hear the entire conversation going on. So hopefully you enjoy the rest of the episode.
That's really exciting.
Because now it don't matter about me anymore. It matters about those people that I got to take care of.
Uh-huh. That's beautiful, man. Okay, so you have the Truly Blessed. You're changing colors now, right? Is that what's happening?
What do you mean?
Well, I'm not trying to spoil anything here, but apparently on this next show, they may be able to see some new colors.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
so
we don't have to talk about it if you don't want to spoil it, but
No, we're
at least,
cool.
you know, a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah.
I mean,
No, yeah. So, like, I like black. Black goes with everything.
right,
You know what I
okay,
mean?
that's okay.
Well, my
yeah.
favorite color is blue,
Uh-huh.
you know, but I know I want to look flashy. One thing our very first boxing coach ever told me is all like, you know, it's like whenever you go in there, it's like the whole thing about what makes you look good when you look pretty, you know, whether it be in your skills or anything, you know. So then, like, as time goes on, I always think about that. I'm like, you know, it's like, I'm not this, like, cocky guy who's out there, like, showboating and this.
Yeah.
I'm not a very big promo guy,
Right.
you know, so I'm like, I'm not getting the receptiveness of, like, a pretty fighter would get, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah,
You
yeah.
know, obviously, I'm not the best looking guy. You know what I mean? So that was like, oh, but it doesn't mean I can't have some nice flashy outfits make me
Right.
look even better just on camera. Like, oh, walking out and they're like, wow, like I stand out more.
Yeah.
You know, and so yeah, so gonna switch it up a little bit. I'm gonna go with purple.
Oh.
Because I feel like
Yeah, the
blue and
okay.
red are like those are the main colors of the corner. You're in the blue
Right.
corner, you're in the red corner. So what do you
Right.
get when you mix them together?
Come on, then.
Purple.
Oh, wow. Okay, I like where you're going with this one now. Okay. That's really interesting. You're going with purple. Is it a top and bottom matching outfit, or what are you
Yeah.
saying here?
Yeah, so what I got is I got purple with a gold trim
Yeah.
and black outline.
Yeah. This could be exciting. I'm excited to see it, dude. What about like the walkout? Are you gonna like choreograph anything? Do you like keep it super simple? I mean, I feel like, okay, so here's my thought process. Like when I was watching, or if you go back and you watch like old Mike Tyson, when he would come out with like a hole in a towel or something, and you're like, what is this? Like this is crazy. But then we see some fighters and they have like a whole performance, a whole thing. Like, where where do you land on that?
Like I said, I'm not a very big promo guy. Like
Yeah.
I like to let my hands do the talking.
Okay.
You know, so like for me, it's like I remember my first fight there. Like I was just ready to just go walk and run up to the ring, get in there. You know, and they were just like, hey, like gotta like take your time. You know, you gotta like kind of show yourself a little bit. You know, maybe move around, show some little highlights.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm barely still getting on with that. Like, my biggest thing is that even with every song that I choose, like I come out to NF. And every NF song I have, it's just because it's like a message for what I'm going through, what I believe in life.
Mm.
You know, like my last fight, it was like When I Grow Up by NF. And it was like, well, when I grow up, I just want to pay my bills, you know?
Yeah.
Just, you know, take care of my family and just pretty much just normal stuff. You know, my last couple songs was like, oh, let them pray. You know, like one of them was Let Them Pray. And it's like, yeah, like they're praying on my downfall. Like,
Yeah.
let them pray.
Yeah.
You know, because at the end of the day, like, when we go out there, it's just me or you. You know, yeah, we can have God in our corners and everything, but when it's the hands and hands talking, it's me and you.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, I like it, dude. I like God. Would you would you ever change it up a little bit and like maybe well, just the way you're talking, I feel like it sounds a lot like you're always on the offense. My hands are doing the tie down, the budge this guy up. I'm coming after him. Would you ever kind of switch up and to go more like defensive? Was that a thing ever, or is it your style to always attack?
And I guess a little bit, you know, I feel like I try to go with where the fight leads, like, but like, guess you could say that's where a little bit of the transition of amateur and professional kind of comes in a little bit, you know.
Okay.
Where in amateurs it's all about points,
Yeah.
pressure, who's the one controlling the fight.
Mm-hmm.
Where sometimes that doesn't switch over well in the pros because it's like, hey, you could be throwing all these punches, making all these moves, but if I just dodge one of them and then just knock you out, none of that meant nothing, you know. So that is a little bit things that can change it. I mean, I feel like since I'm a smaller weight, I feel like more of being the aggressor and controlling and putting a lot more punch output combos. I feel like that is more what I want to do, just based on like I want to be the one dictating the pace of the fight. And it's just because of the fact that, like, I don't want to get knocked out in front of a bunch of people because my defense lacks on just one little inch, one little moment, one wrong step. You know, so I don't want to play with my food. You know, if I can be there and I can finish a guy in 1 minute or 20 minutes, like, I'm sure anybody will want to do it in 1 minute. You know, so if that's the way I can take him out, then I'd rather do it like that. And if not, then at least that's why I prepare the way that I prepare, because I'm always prepared to go the distance. You know, but if they ain't prepared for that, then it's gonna be a short night.
Don't want to play the That would think Jake like, bro, that is an amazing line. I don't want to play with my food is fantastic, dude. That's
We're all there to eat.
That's so good.
You know, and it's either I'm taking food off their table or they're taking food off mine.
Yeah. Okay, I want to talk about this. If I'm stepping, you interrupt me, brother. In our last episode that we did, and you can go back and listen to it, it's with Jason and Monica DiCarlo. We talked about like how a fighter can, be really good in front of the camera or the persona or like what really sells, right? And you're really good in front of the camera. We've talked about this plenty of times where you feel confident doing that. Where did that come from? Did you have to learn that skill? Did you have to practice that, or did that come naturally? What is that for you?
I don't know. I think I'm just comfortable in my own skin.
Yeah.
You know, the biggest thing comes with like,
why are so many fighters not into that?
I don't know. I think it's because a lot of people do come from a lot of like messed up backgrounds and this, and maybe they're scared for some of that to surface. But like, I wouldn't be anything or any man that I am today if it wasn't for everything I've been through. Yeah, I ain't got nothing to hide behind. Yeah, I'm not scared about how the public views me. Yeah, you know, haters are gonna hate. My fans are gonna love me. Friends are gonna be cool. Family's always gonna be there. You know, so at the end of the day, like, I'm not worried about what anybody else thinks about me because I ain't worried about what I think about myself.
Wow. Man, that's tough. Okay, what about like the persona aspect of it? Do you ever are you trying to present yourself in a certain way? I mean, it sounds like you're very discomfortable in your own skin here about what you're telling me, but in fighting and boxing, is there ever a thing where you're like, man, I kind of need to like put on a show right now? Like, I need to be like this tough bad guy, or do you just kind of, I'm not into that.
Yeah, I'm not really into
Not into it.
Not really into it.
What do you think about people who do that?
To each their own.
Yeah? Okay,
If that's how you like it, that's cool.
Yeah?
I ain't got nothing bad to say about you.
Yeah?
You can have whatever you want to say about me, and it don't matter anyway either.
I love it. Okay. All right, man. So that's interesting. How important would you say being able to talk to in front of a camera is?
I mean, I guess in the long run, if you were to make it pretty big, that would be very easy. You know what I mean? Because especially with the way things are, everybody's looking for a meme to put you out on.
Yeah.
I think to get those clicks. So
that's very true.
I can understand that aspect, but you know, it is what it is. We'll see how it goes. I don't even think about cameras and none of that. You know, that's why I just think like we're just chilling, we're just talking.
Yeah, I kind of want some help with it a little bit more. Give me a little bit more here. We're with we're doing a scenario right now, an example. I'm with a fighter and he's having a hard time talking in front of the camera. Well, what could I tell him that would help him feel more comfortable?
I don't know. For me, I would just say this, pretend like none of this stuff is even there.
Yeah.
Like how would you, or if that's just how they are, because that's the difference too. Everybody's different.
Yeah.
It's like, if this isn't how you would talk to somebody, even with any of this around, that's kind of how you would be.
Yeah.
Like me, I'm pretty open about everywhere I go, whether it be at work, whether it be here, whether, anywhere I go. So that's why it comes a little bit more natural.
Yeah.
Where like, if you're always someone who's kind of like more isolated, you never really cough, like I could see how even more the pressure comes when you're
behind up. Yeah, I completely understand. I'm trying to find a way to like just break those barriers or give them some of that confidence that you seem to have to make them more comfortable.
Maybe warm them up a little bit, start one brief conversation before you start clicking. Get them feeling comfortable.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing.
Okay.
Like, I've worked with y'all a few times before, so like I've already felt pretty chill just talking to y'all in general. So then for me, it's not even skipping a feet for us then.
Yeah. I love it. All right, how long have you been training for? How long is the camp for this one?
So this one was about 8 weeks, just because there's a little bit more rounds. This is going to be my second 6-rounder on paper, but my first 6-rounder didn't go very well. So I'm just trying to make sure that, leaving no doubt in my mind that I'm going to put on a great show.
Yeah.
So just working really hard, 8 weeks, cleaning up the diet. You gotta always eat good, but always gotta eat a lot. Especially for a guy my size.
What's your weight class?
I fight at 126 pounds, featherweight division.
Okay.
So, gotta make sure I'm maintaining my.
What do you walk around at?
I walk around about like 140.
140. So you're cutting. Wow. You're
Oh, yeah.
cutting like 14. Was that 14 pounds?
Yeah. Wow. And depending on how hard we're working and how much we're eating, that can always change, anywhere from 140 up to higher. Sometimes maybe you're eating too clean, working too hard, might need to go a little bit down, so. But I've always been there. I'm not a very big guy.
Yeah.
And
Is eating clean just the normal, like literally like chicken and rice? Is that what you're doing? Are you doing way less, or what are you doing?
man, I eat a lot.
You're losing 14 pounds though in 8 weeks.
Yeah, it's a lot of I mean, it's super clean. We gotta kind of have a system worked out, a little bit of science behind it. That kind of works for things. But it's mainly like I eat like normal foods. Like
Okay.
I eat chicken, rice, steak, eggs, like all the good stuff. It's just cutting out everything bad. So it's like not really like any processed milk. I'm not eating anything that's like microwavable. I'm not eating donuts and a bunch of candy all day. Bags of chips and ice cream. Because don't get me wrong, I'm gonna have my time for that. But right now just ain't the time because you just want to make sure, like I said, no doubt. Oh, maybe if I would have made weight because I would have not ate that pizza or something. So it's like little things like that, and just staying disciplined with, like I said, every aspect of the game, and that comes from the training, comes from even just making sure you're getting your sleep. Like I heard somebody say one time with my nephew. He was telling me, he's like, yeah, it's crazy to think that like you just getting 1 hour less of sleep can cause you to lose a fight.
Yeah.
The recovery is just as important as working hard.
Yeah.
You got to, and the diet, you got to weight to make. And that's what I don't understand about some people too, is that like, read what you sign. You know what I mean? Like, everything's on a piece of paper that you signed up for. So if you get upset at the end of the day when the time comes for you to do everything on that paper, maybe you should just read your stuff before you sign it. You know what I mean? Because I don't go around doing anything without making sure that I'm checking off all the boxes.
Right, man. Right. How is the recovery process when you're working so often? Does that make it harder?
Yeah, a little bit, because you're just doing a lot more. So we usually do about like 6 days a week, get 1 day to recover. So it's like very important to be like trying to recover, even on those days you're working, like not pushing the limit with certain things. Like, oh, if I go home after training, maybe I shouldn't be going and running all these errands right after. Maybe I should pick a day where I'm working out these errands that I got to do. I mean, sometimes you got to do what you got to do, but like even like stretching, ice baths. I'll take like Epsom salt baths, like a lot of little things, massages. Like you got to really keep up on like the maintenance of your body. Just like a car. Yeah, that's where the diet comes in play, because it's like if your car is supposed to take this kind of gas to run smoothly, but you're giving it this horrible gas. Then you're wondering why your engine's kind of kicking every now and then, and then at the same time too, oh, you got a flat tire. Well, now you got to maintenance that tire, get that hole fixed, fix it up. Yeah. Oh, your windshield wiper's going out. There's little things. It could be like, oh, I'm a little sore on this side. Maybe that means I need to balance it out with the other side. Maybe that means I need to just make sure I'm stretching right. Yeah. Like just little things. Recovery is just as important as working hard.
What about the sleep right before a fight? You mentioned the sleep. Is it how is that for you?
Well, the sleep right before a fight is a little different than like the sleep throughout whole camp. Because I'm kind of anxious. I'm like, oh wow, because especially after cutting weight, and you've been like, now for me, like my biggest, like for me, fighting is the fun part. Like this training and all that stuff, like that's just what I need to do for the fight. That stuff sometimes ain't fun. Fighting, that's fun, Yeah. But you also got this super big aspect of making weight before a fight. So when I make weight for a fight, like, man, I can't sleep, I can't eat, I can't drink. It's like, nah, I go weigh in, like, it sucks. So sometimes my sleep isn't the best, and so sometimes I'll be just sleeping to kind of get through like the weight cut process, so that like I'm not really thinking about it. Yeah. So then by the time I do make weight and start eating, like I'm kind of like wide awake because I've been using all that time to just sleep, so then that's something a little different. Yeah. So things kind of change on that aspect, but yeah, you just always want to make sure you're getting whatever sleep works for you, like I function on anywhere to 4 to 6 hours of sleep a day. So I know some people can't do that, but like I've just already gotten used to it. So I'm just super accustomed to it. Like it's just like an alarm clock going off in my head every morning. I'd be waking up before the alarm even goes off sometimes. Wow.
That's impressive, yeah, I will say. What about your body after the fight? We're talking about leading up to it, and now you stepped in the ring. What about after? What's that like? Are you just ice that thing, or what?
Well, sometimes it just depends. Sometimes you can have an easy fight and you don't feel that bad. Right. Sometimes you can have a tough fight and you feel like you just got ran over by a train or something.
When
You
does
know what I
that
mean?
when's that adrenaline start to run off?
Well, I'd say like right after the fight, the adrenaline's pretty high, win or lose.
Yeah.
You're kind of like, wow, ooh, like
Yeah.
that was crazy what just happened, you know. But I feel like it goes away probably like the next day, you know. Like,
Oh, you can sleep on it.
oh no, I can't sleep on it.
Well, like after the fight, you go home, you go to sleep, right? And then when you wake up, you're saying your body's in pain.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
I thought your body would be in pain by the time you get home.
Oh no, adrenaline's so high you don't feel nothing.
Wow.
You know, and that's like you got like an injury or something. Like I remember my hand was hurting on one of my fights, and I was just like, oh dang, like I think I was in that already, you know. But then the next day when I woke up, I was like, oh damn, I could barely even take my rings off my fingers. I was like, oh shit, my hands were swollen. They were big. I was like, oh dang, yeah. So I was there feeling them in eyes, and
Yeah.
I was like, yeah. So the next day I would say is like the worst, but
Yeah.
this well at least when you feel it. But I would actually say the day after
That
next day
Yeah.
is actually the worst of all.
Wow. How long do you give yourself to fully recover after a fight?
While like I still try to come to the gym.
Uh-huh.
Usually if it just depends on like the scheduling and everything. But like even if I like take a day out from the gym, like still gotta go to work now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like you never really get like the whole big chance to like really recover.
Yeah.
You know, but I would say like anywhere from like a couple days to like 1 week and I should be good.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Seems like no days off, man.
Yeah, pretty much.
Wow. You like that style though. It seems
Well,
like
yeah.
it seems like it's calming to you. Like you like that.
Yeah, well, it's just because I know that there's going to be a time my body's not going to be able to allow me to do this, so I'm just trying to take advantage of it while I can.
Yeah.
Because one day I'm going to hear a crack in my back or,
Yeah.
you know, pops in my knees and realize, damn,
Yeah.
retirement sounded a lot sooner than I thought it was. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man. What about I know I've heard a lot of different opinions on the state of boxing in Utah. So I've heard some people trash it, dude. Some people say it's not even around, it's dying, you can't do it. I've heard people say, there's a lot of boxing gyms, it's up and coming, there's some really good stuff. You've lived here your whole life.
No.
Where do you what?
No.
We haven't covered this? Okay, did you move to Utah? When did you
No,
move
so
to
yeah,
Utah?
so I actually, like, I've lived in Utah here and there when I was younger. I was
Okay.
born in Arizona,
Okay.
you know, and then, but I wasn't there very long. I was there for, like, maybe the, like, first 2 years of my life.
Okay.
Then I moved to Idaho, grew up in Idaho a little bit with my dad,
Uh-huh.
except for he's from
Uh-huh.
my mom and them lived over there. Then I kind of came to Utah for a little bit, been all around Utah as a kid,
Okay.
you know, did a bunch of little things when I was younger.
Uh-huh.
It's a pretty smart little kid, you know, I did a bunch of things in Utah, Idaho, like, on paper.
Oh, nice.
You know? And when I was about 11 years old, moved to Texas. So I grew up in Texas.
Okay, so you've seen a lot of stuff here.
Yeah.
What do you think about the state of boxing in Utah?
Yeah, because I moved here in, I believe, 2019, so I was about 20 years old. So I've been here probably about 6 or 7 years now.
Okay.
And I would say, like, it was a crazy change whenever COVID came, you know, because, like, that thing affected a lot of stuff. But for, like, the people who aren't really putting on a lot of shows, and, like, I guess Utah was kind of one of those, like, it took a big hit on them trying to come back from that.
Right.
You know, so, like, I did hear a lot of that, like, oh, dang, like, people, like, whenever even I became pro, they would hit us up because they're like, Utah isn't known for, like, fighters. So, like, they're calling us to try to get an easy win. We're just going to whoop these guys, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Well, like, there's a lot of great fighters here, you know? It's just, I feel like a lot of people just don't really get the opportunity or the credit they deserve, you know, to really go out there and put a name for themselves. Because it's just so frowned upon, especially when you got promoters out here lackluster with everything, you know, or people holding other people back. You know, like, go giving people contracts and making them forced to fight. Nothing but bums, you know, and that there comes a chance whenever they get an opportunity to go out there and make something happen for them, and they're kind of held back by never really ever getting challenged, you know, and then that can also make Utah look bad, in a sense where it's like, oh, it could look like they're not a good fighter, but like these probably just great fighters who just never really been tested, and they got thrown into the lines, and then it just got eaten alive.
Is there anything that would make you not accept a fight?
I'll just say like it. Like, when you become freshman, you gotta look at, like, business so much of that, because, like, that's another thing that changes with the amateurs. Like, me, like, became amateurs because, like, I needed to fuel this ego of me that, like, I just want to hurt somebody. you know, like I wasn't the nicest guy, you know, but it's like at least like that was what got me out of trouble when I was younger. My mom's like, hey, like you want to hurt people, you get mad, you're always angry. You know, why don't you go in there with another person just like you?
Yeah.
You know, because at least you guys both know what you're signing up for. And like in the end of the day, like there's no hard feelings.
Yeah.
You know, like you can't get mad at somebody in the streets and then go and fight them. Now all of a sudden you gotta look over your shoulder because maybe you messed with like a kid that was in a gang. And now you're gonna get shot. Now you're putting your family and friends in danger because you let your ego get the best of you.
Right.
So as a professional, I gotta look at that too. It's like, oh dang, well, yeah, I'll go fight anybody. I ain't worried about fighting nobody. Like I'll fight right now, you know. And if it just don't make sense business wise, you know, you got to look at yourself like a product and like you got to sell yourself accordingly and build yourself up. You know, like
Right.
like oh, we got to take one small step at a time and slowly climb up this ladder. You know, because you can ruin your career taking a couple big steps before you were even ready, and your career never even got out, and never even started, and now it's already over.
Have you seen that happen before to other fighters?
Yeah, I've seen it happen to a few people. Yeah, you know.
Mm-hmm. I kind of want to take a twist here. You kind of mentioned some things about like your life growing up. I feel like there's so many deep levels to you. You mentioned you moved around a lot. You were born in Arizona. You moved to Idaho, went to Texas. Now you're in Utah. What made you move around so much?
It's life.
Yeah.
Yeah, just life. You know. Parents of that, you know, they were always just on the move. You know, going to different back, either going to the roots, you know, if I have another, like, cause, like, I don't know how deep we're trying to get in there, cause, like, my mom had, like, 10 kids, you know?
Yeah.
And so, then, like, my dad had, like, 7 or 8 kids, like, it was, like, everyone was just born in a bunch of different spots. So then it was also, like, oh, this place didn't work out for us, let's go reconnect with this kid. They were still trying to work through their struggles, but then, like, we were just the babies. Yeah, so it was me and my younger sister and my younger brother, so we just went everywhere they went, or they were doing drugs and getting into trouble, and it's like, now we got to get away from there, you know. And so like a lot of that is like kind of forced me to move around. Whenever I was in Texas, I was like 16, and then I was over there doing a bunch of drugs and overdosed and all this. And I was in the hospital, and I just remember my sister was there with me, and she was over here talking on the phone with this pretty little lady, and I was just like, hey, how you doing, you know? And she was living there in California. You know, and so I was over there, my heart was stopping like every other beat. And then I ended up going down there to California to meet this lady out there. Then she made my heart start beating again.
There you go.
So here I am today with the, you know, love of my life, my teen.
Oh, wow.
And now got 2 kids. So it's like everything just part of life caused me to move around. You know, I'm far from perfect, but I try to be better every day. You know, I got in a lot of my own trouble still growing up, having a kid and just becoming a man. So that also caused me to have to move around, and the only thing I ever thought of was I just don't want to go backwards, because the one thing that keeps putting me in the positions that I'm in when I'm messing up and doing bad is because I keep taking one step backwards, you know, and then trying to move forward, where it's like, just move forward, you know, and if you got to stumble to the next moving forward, then that's better than messing up and then slowly stumbling backwards.
Yeah.
You know, and so then from there I just slowly moved around, and I knew I had been in Utah when I was a kid.
Yeah.
You know, so I was like, oh, let's go try out Utah. Yeah. So here we are.
Wow. And how has boxing impacted that?
Boxing is like, honestly, I feel like boxing kind of like saved my life.
Yeah.
You know, because like the type of mentality and the type of guy that I was, boxing was the one thing that like made me not want to do any of that stuff. Like I sacrificed partying, I sacrificed hanging out with friends, you know, doing the hooligan stuff to go to the gym. You know, like I'd rather be in the gym. And then overall, like as I found older, like it spilled into everything else in my life. Yeah, the discipline. Oh, I don't feel like going to the gym. Oh, I'm hurting. This, but I gotta show up because I got things I gotta do. So whenever like, oh, I don't want to go to work. I want to sleep in. Well, I got people relying on me that were, you know, expecting me to put food on the table. Yeah. So like that spilled into everything. Oh, you're not good in the beginning. You need to work on your jab. You need to work on your footwork. What do? You practice. So when I wasn't good at a part of my job, I would just practice and made sure that every weakness I had in every part of what I'm doing in life became strength.
I love that. What would you say to somebody who's like kind of interested in boxing, but they're not sure like how to get into it?
I'd just say you know, try to go to one of your local gyms.
Yeah.
You know, see if it's something you want to do. People come to boxing for many different reasons, you know. People want to come to compete. They want to be the next big thing. Maybe they're just coming for health benefits. You know, maybe they're trying to lose a little bit of weight. Maybe they're just coming for a safe spot to be able to come to a place full of a bunch of misfits. You know what I mean? I mean, people come from all different walks of life in the boxing gym. You know, it could be somebody who grew up with perfect family, perfect parents. You know, slowly, you know, being like they were well taken care of. To like people who were like they're getting thrown here for a daycare. You know, because their parents aren't maybe one. You know, I don't know what it is, but it's like people come from different reasons. Maybe just like me, trying to get away from something that whenever they're around their neighborhood or something, there's just a bunch of chaos going on. You know, like it's a great escape to come out and an outlet that could lead to a lot of different things. And I feel like there's just nothing but positive that can come from any kind of combat sport or any kind of like physical fitness activity. You know, like I feel like I keep up with kids that are 18, 20. Whenever I also see the other end of like people barely starting, like, dang, like I feel my age, you know? And so it's like I could see how it helps you out through everything. I mean, I was when I first started here in All Hard, I was I guess I started whenever this guy named Joliet started, and I didn't realize, because you know it's like whenever you're hanging out with somebody every day, you don't really notice like all the progress they all make because you guys are always there together.
Right.
But he was like, I think like 400 pounds or something.
Wow.
You know, and I think he lost like 200 pounds in the whole time that we were like training together. And like, he wasn't here for any other reason other than like, he didn't like going to the gym. He felt like, you know, like going to the gym kind of made him feel like bad, like people put him down, or you just, you know, maybe it's all in his head. And like here, being around people that made him feel a bit more comfortable, like he was able to really like push himself more. And then to have someone next to him, like a teammate, because like, yeah, you go to a gym, regular gym, but like, it's just a bunch of strangers, you know? You don't get to know any of these people, you know, and especially if you're kind of shy, you might not ever break the ice with that person. And here, we're kind of like all on the same team, you know, in the same room, all striving together for one goal, even if our goals are different, you know? And I just realized that, like, over time, like, we were always help pushing each other, you know? I'm like, oh, like, who am I to make an excuse? And this guy doesn't make an excuse. And in turn, it worked back and forth for everybody, you know? Everybody in the team just helped strive and push for each other to be better. And I just feel like there's just a lot of benefits that can come from that aspect.
Love that. I was actually thinking before you got to that, like there's a bunch of people that have this like gym anxiety, like they don't want to start going to the gym. Maybe it's a little bit scary. I kind of wanted to talk to you a little bit more about the community in boxing. Like you already said, but everyone's kind of pushing each other, and it's like almost like a family, right? Team energy. Tell us a little bit more about the boxing community.
Yeah, you know, like I mean, boxing's huge in the like on the grand scale, you know, but like in the actual boxing world, like everybody knows everybody, you know, we're all working together, you know, like for the most part, like, yeah, just like in life, like there's always going to be a couple people who see things different than you, or maybe people who just want to go about things different than you know, but in the end of the day, it's like everybody's here to try to do the same thing. On the competitive side, everyone wants to try to get their fighter to be the baddest fighter, you know, or at least better than they are, you know. And then on the other side of things, it's all like, for the most part, everyone knows that we're not like enemies. Like, we're just maybe an opponent, or maybe we're just here for, you know, we're just getting a workout together. So it's like sometimes some people are just willing to like kind of help, like not really even thinking about it, because we're just here like, oh yeah, we're gonna get some work in the spar today. You know, oh yeah, we're gonna go all out and we're gonna go run with another gym or something. Like, don't really like think of it like a team building thing, but like it's really like that's the community coming together and actually helping push each other, you know, and like and good things come out about it, you know. But like throughout all Utah, I mean, I feel like I pretty much worked with the majority of the gyms here and the majority of the people that, man, I could go around confidently saying that like we'd all rather help each other succeed than see each other fail.
Yeah. I like it. That's beautiful. Kind of, sort of wrapping it up. What is one thing you tell your younger self?
Fantastic. Just keep going.
Just keep going.
Don't give up.
Well,
You know, I don't have no regrets about nothing, because like I said, if I wouldn't have been through everything I've been through, I wouldn't be this person I am right now. Yeah, we would all like to go back and change something, but what if that changed my whole life right now? What if it changed me from having kids? What if it changed me from being the love of my life? What if it changed me from never even stepping a foot in the boxing ring? You know? So I take it all with grace, and I just know that It's gonna be all right. There is a light at the end of that tunnel.
Mm-hmm. You gonna put your kids in boxing?
If they want to, I just want them to know how to defend themselves.
Yeah.
You know, that's my biggest thing for me is like, I never had nobody teaching me how to do that. So I kind of had it. Everything that I've been through, I had to learn the hard way. Where it's all like, if I could just give a little piece of advice, or if they even just admire it, like the discipline that comes with it, you know, like
Yeah.
that's the stuff that I want them to learn. You know, like this is something that you can use to take into every part of your life. You know, well, it doesn't matter what it is. You want to go and play chess. You know, you want to go and, you know, play baseball. Like any type of thing that makes you have to use your mind and know that there's something you need to test yourself with to be better at whatever it is that you're doing. Like that's what it really comes down to. Because I just want them to be the best people that I know that they're capable of being.
Yeah. Man. I don't have anything else, dude. That was beautiful, man. I'm like fired up, but also a little scared. I'm not gonna lie. Like you're saying, you don't want to play with your food. You like hitting people. And all right, man. Well, I appreciate it. You know. Thank you for being on. I really appreciate you coming and doing this, man. Thank you, sir. All right. Thank you guys for listening. Get your tickets. Click the link in the bio. Listen to the next episode. Bye, guys.